So when I started in Congress, I decided to focus upon the issues of energy, environment, nuclear proliferation, safety of nuclear power plants. Kevin has gone down my litany. And one of the first things I did is hire Washington's legislative and political director for the Union of Concerned Scientists to be my staff director, Peter Franchel. And so that was how I oriented myself more than 30 years ago in terms of the issues that I was working on, partnering with Peter as my staff director, who is now the comptroller of the state of Maryland, and with the Union of Concerned Scientists, with Eric and others at that time. So for me, beginning in the 1970s, when Jimmy Carter said that we should be building 500 new nuclear power plants, we should be spreading around the planet, that we should have a synthetic fuels program that mines oil from shale and oil from coal, that would have led to a dramatic increase in the amount of greenhouse gases that were going up into the atmosphere in 1979 and 1980. I was leading the fight against them, but with the Union of Concerned Scientists, when Jimmy Carter said we should sell 50 tons of uranium to India in 1980, but without having full-scope safeguards upon them, which of course would have blown a hole and did through the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Act and Treaty. I was the one who made the amendment on the House floor to block that. I was successful. We lost by one vote in the Senate. That continued to spread this pathology between Pakistan and India at the time. And throughout the years, whether it be, as Kevin was saying, on energy or nuclear non-proliferation issues, I tried to do my best with UCS and their agenda. When Ronald Reagan took over in 1981, and he hired a dentist to be the Secretary of Energy, James Edwards from the state of South Carolina, who said that his goal was to abolish the Department of Energy before the end of the spring of 1981. And in the confirmation hearing, when he was asked whether or not he thought that was possible, he said, well, I'll be able to get it done by the middle of the summer of 1981 anyway, because the catfish will still be jumping, and I'll be back there without a job because I will have basically destroyed the agency that I was appointed to be in charge of. That was the Reagan era. The MX missile, the Star Wars program, the Trident missile, the Pershing missile, a whole new round of nuclear weapons that would be created. And so in partnering with the Union of Concerned Scientists, I introduced the Nuclear Freeze Resolution in 1982 to stop the spread of nuclear weapons. And we passed the Nuclear Freeze Resolution on the floor of the House of Representatives in 1983. It never passed the Senate, but it drove Reagan back to the negotiating table, albeit reluctantly. And then in 1986, in partnering with the Union of Concerned Scientists, my amendment passed on the House floor for no longer a non-binding nuclear freeze resolution, but an amendment that ended, that prohibited any spending on any underground nuclear testing in the United States. And that amendment passed in 1986 for the first time in American history. And again, it's with the Union of Concerned Scientists, Peter Franchel, still on my staff, all of us working hard in order to ensure that we would begin to move towards this vision of a world in which there are fewer nuclear weapons, and we were moving towards a world in which we would develop renewable and alternative energy resources to substitute for those nuclear power plants that we were spreading as a nation around the world, like nuclear Johnny Appleseeds, hoping that the uranium and plutonium would not be converted to bomb programs in Iran, Iraq, and North Korea, and other countries that we were making part of this so-called Atoms for Peace program. And as the years went by, it became clear that we were the ones driving Gorbachev and Reagan to the negotiating table in Reykjavik. We were the ones that were saying that this nuclear future was one that we should be looking at in a rearview mirror, because there had to be another way in which we could all live together. When Bush took office, and said that he was going to, on a unilateral basis, withdraw from the anti-ballistic missile treaty. In each and every instance, it was the Union of Concerned Scientists and their credibility that came into this fight in order to ensure that we, on our side, had the equivalent of the scientists that were being purchased by the defense industry to make the argument on the other side, just to create that level playing field. And when Bush began to backslide on Iran, on Iraq, on the International Atomic Energy Agency, on North Korea, on the Nuclear Suppliers Group, on all of these critical agencies, on policies that would move us closer and closer towards that day of a nuclear Armageddon, it was the Union of Concerned Scientists which stood up. And this is, as a result, for me, one of the great honors to be able to come here and be with you on this 40th birthday. It's the indispensable Washington lobbying group. It is the one group with which I have agreed on absolutely everything for every single day that I have been in Congress. My father used to say to me, Eddie, when two people agree upon absolutely everything, you don't need one of those. You don't need one of those people. That's not true in Washington, D.C. You need a lot of people to agree to be successful, and you are these indispensable people. Mark Twain used to say that history doesn't repeat itself, but it does tend to rhyme. And so none of the issues exactly manifest themselves today the way they did over the past, but they rhyme with those issues in terms of our concern about the spread of nuclear weapons, about our concern about climate change, about the lack of full investment in an alternative energy agenda. And even as recently as 5 years ago, 4 years ago, when Bush wanted to construct a nuclear bunker buster that is a little baby nuclear bomb that would be so safe that it would be able to drop a little baby nuclear bomb in the middle of a city, most likely over in the Mideast, that would very surgically move into the middle of the city to go down into a deep bunker where they all might be hiding. I made that the first amendment ever on the House floor to end the funding for the nuclear bunker buster in partnership with the Union of Concerned Scientists, in partnership with Kevin and your whole team in order to defeat it. Now, I only got 166 votes the first year, 177 votes the next year. But by the next year, I had a whole team of other people joining in, and we actually don't care. But in the end, 2 years ago, the nuclear bunker buster was killed once and for all. And that's to your credit, because there's an old saying that liberals are usually right, but too soon. And I guess I would put that over. That would, to me, that would be the headline over the Union of Concerned Scientists. That you're usually right, but too soon for everyone else to completely adopt as their working political philosophy. So, for me, this is a huge moment in time. Barack Obama is now President of the United States of America. What a difference a day makes. January 20th, 2009. And for all of us here, as the President is sworn in, and we're only 9 months into his administration, he is our most important ally in all of the efforts that we have been working on for our entire lives. He is interested in nuclear arms reduction with Russia, a fissile material cutoff treaty, a new and constructive direction for Iran and for North Korea, sending the comprehensive nuclear test ban to the United States Senate for ratification. Okay? These are steps that are central to the long-term well-being of the planet that we live on. And after the last 8 years, it's hard for us to wrap our heads around this, but we are on the offense now. We are now driving an agenda, which is radically different than anything that we have seen in a political generation.